Something which is pretty cool about Go is that it enables you to create new types based on existing ones, and we refer to this as type definition. Being able to define your own types or create new types based on existing ones helps make your code more clearer, safer, and easier to understand. So what am I talking about and how do you do this? To create your own type based on an existing one, first of all, we need the keyword type. And say we want to have a type which is going to be for user IDs, then what we're going to do here is we're going to say user ID, and we are basing it on integers. So if I want to go and declare a new variable called ID, so var keyword, like we've done before, we give the variable a name. Then next what you need to do is you usually give your variable a type. And we have just actually created a new type. And so we can say user ID and then give it a value. And because we've based this on the integer type, then obviously we need to give this an integer like value. And there we have just created a new type, and we have used it in order to assign a value to a variable. Let's print this out. And as you can see, we just see the value of 10. But it is of type user ID. How do we actually show a variable's type? Can you remember how we do this? Instead of print line, we can use printf. And the format verb is %t to print the actual type. So let's see what we get this time. Okay, and it's telling us that the type is a user ID from the main package. So this has been defined only in this package. So in summary, user ID is a new type. It is based on int, but it is not the same as int. The underlying representation is still an integer. So this distinction is quite important. Okay, now even though the underlying representation is still an integer, you cannot treat it the same as being an integer. What do I mean by that? Well, let me show you something which will not compile. So here we'll keep the user ID, and we'll have another variable, number, which will be an integer. But if I then decide I want to change the value and actually set ID to the same value as number, well, they are different types. So as you can see, I'm getting some red squiggling underline. It's saying cannot use number type int as the type user ID. So they are distinctly different types, even though user ID was originally based on the int type. Now if we go and try and print out the value of ID, we should see that error here. And so as you can see, it's saying cannot use number variable of type int as user ID value in the assignment. So let's have a think. What if you really wanted to assign ID to that value of number? Can you think how you might do this? Well, usually we use a conversion. And so in this case, to convert to user ID from integer, which is the type for number, again we use the name of the type followed by parentheses, and this will still work for types which you have created yourself. And so then we pass in number here, and then if we just go and print it out, we'll see that this time it should have worked. Okay, and so we see 10. So what we've needed to do there, because number is a different type than ID, it is an integer, even though the underlying type that we've based user ID on is an integer, they are still distinctly different types as far as Go is concerned, and so we need to do that conversion. And so basically this prevents accidental misuse. So type definitions, they add safety, not just names. Now attached to this lesson, there's some extra information on why type definitions are useful, and so here it tells you that type definitions help express intent, and it gives a couple of good examples there, quite common ones which you'll see quite a lot. So we're defining a custom type called email, which is based on string, And so have a look at the extra information attached to this one. In a future lesson, we'll probably have a look at type aliases. And that's something totally different. I'll not go deep into it here, but check out the lesson text and just make a mental note that this is something that we're going to have a look at in the future. For now, let's have a challenge. So here, write a program that defines a new type called product ID based on integers. Define a function that accepts a product ID. Now the body of the function isn't that important. You can put whatever logic you like in there, but then try to call the function using a plain integer. And you should see that this does not compile, and just observe the error message. Then after that, fix the call using an explicit conversion. I'm sure you can do this. Pause me now and give that a go. Okay, so this is what I've come up with so far. I've created a new type called product ID. It is based on integers, and then a very simple function, print product, which takes an ID parameter, which is of type product ID, and it's just going to print out the actual value for that. So first of all, let's go and try and call this with just an integer. So I'll say var raw ID, that's a variable name, is of type integer, has a value of 42. And if we go and call print product, passing in that raw ID, we should see that we have a problem here. Well, we're already getting the squiggly red underlining. Let's go and see what the error is. And it's telling us we cannot use raw ID variable of type integer as product ID value. So we have a type mismatch here. So what did the challenge say that we need to do? We need to do a conversion. So let's convert that raw ID to a product ID. So here we'll just say ID equals, we need to make a conversion. So we use the name of the type with parentheses, and then we pass in the value. So we'll pass in the raw ID, which means we should now have a ID. This needs to be a short syntax declaration. So we should now have a valid ID, which is of type product ID, that we can pass in to print product. We've made the conversion. Let's go and run this. And as you can see, that prints that out, no problem. So we dropped in an extra line there, didn't we? But we could have inlined this. What do I mean by that? We could take this and just drop this in to the actual function call, remove the need to create that extra variable. And often you'll see this. Let's go and run it. You'll see that we get the same result. So yeah, inlining is totally valid, and we've already done a lot of it in Go Bytes, but just something to be wary of if your function names are getting quite long or you're having nested inlining. It can be quite hard to read, can be quite hard to understand, and the main principles with Go is that things should be simple and easy to understand. So if you need to make your code easier to read, then by all means do that. Hopefully after seeing that, you're starting to get a grasp of type definitions and how you can create your own custom types based on existing types in Go. It's a really cool feature and something which you'll use a lot as you progress. Hope you've enjoyed this one. Give the video a like. Make sure you subscribed if you want YouTube to show you more Go Bytes. Like I say, there's a little bit of extra information attached to this lesson. You can find that in the description. I'll see you in the next one.